Hello everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to install wxWidgets on CodeBlocks. The first thing we need to do is go to the CodeBlocks website and download CodeBlocks. So open up your web browser and go to www.codeblocks.org. And go to Downloads. And download the binary release. And scroll down. I'm going to install this version of CodeBlocks from FossHub. And we'll just click on this. And save file. And now we can just double click on the installer. Next. Then you have to click I agree. Next. And install. And I'm going to click no. Next. And finish. Okay, we don't need these, so I'm going to get rid of them. And now that we have CodeBlocks installed, we need to add GCC to the path environment variable. So to do that, we're going to have to open up the File Explorer. And we're going to go to the C drive, Program Files x86, CodeBlocks, MinGW, bin, and now we need to copy the path at the top. We need to go to the Start menu and just start typing environment variables. And you should see an option that looks like this, Edit the System Environment Variables. Click on that. Go to Environment Variables, Path, Edit, New, and paste that path in that we copied earlier. Click OK, click OK, and click OK one more time. Okay, now we just want to make sure that that worked, so open up the command prompt. And type GCC --version. If you did that right, then you should see the version information. If you see an error, then you need to do it again. Now that we have CodeBlocks installed and GCC is set up, we need to compile wxWidgets. To do that, we'll have to go to the wxWidgets website and download the source code. So go ahead and open your browser. And go to www.wxWidgets.org. And then go to Downloads. Now you have this development release here. We don't want that. We want the stable release. I'm going to download the zip file. Now I'm going to use a program called 7-zip to extract this, but you may not have 7-zip installed on your computer. If that's the case, you can just double click this, and then you can select Extract All. Just be forewarned that doing it that way just takes a lot longer. 7-zip is a lot faster. Okay, now that that's extracted, we can go ahead and delete this. And now we need to compile wxWidgets. So open up this folder. And we want to go to Build, MSW. And here you can see we have some makefiles. We need to run makefile.gcc. So to do that, we're going to have to open up a command prompt. So up here at the top, just click on that and type cmd. That will open up a command prompt in the current folder. Now to compile wxWidgets, we're going to type mingw32-make. And then we need to tell the make utility what makefile we want to run. We do that with the -f option. And then we have to type the name of the makefile. In this case, that's going to be makefile.gcc. Now, when I did a test run of this, I got an error. To solve that problem, we're going to have to set the cxxflags variable to no narrowing. Okay, so to do that, we're going to set cxxflags equals dash capital W lowercase no dash narrowing. Okay, now I'm going to set shared to 1. And I'm going to set Unicode to 1. And I'm going to set the build to debug. And finally, we're going to specify the clean command. Okay, so now let's run that. Cleaning should only take a few seconds. Okay, now we're going to hit the up arrow. That will give us our previous command back, and we're just going to delete clean. And then hit enter. That will compile wxWidgets. Okay, but we need to do the same thing for the release build. So let's set this to one side. And we'll go back to the File Explorer. Go to the top and type cmd. And we're going to do the same thing. So mingw32-make -f makefile.gcc cxxflags equals dash capital W no dash narrowing. Now we're going to set shared to 1. And we'll set Unicode to 1. And we'll set build to release. And we need to add the clean command at the end. Okay, once you have that, go ahead and hit enter. Then hit the up arrow to get the previous command back, and delete the clean command at the end. Hit enter, and now we're compiling the release build. Set that over to the right. There you go. Okay, so now you're just going to have to wait for it to compile. That could take quite a while, so you might want to get yourself a cup of coffee or something and come back. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and I'll see you when it's done. Okay, everybody, now that wxWidgets has finished compiling, we can go ahead and close the windows. And I'm going to move the wxWidgets folder to the C Program Files x86 directory. So we'll go to the C drive, and we'll paste that into the Program Files x86 directory. Now that that's done, we'll need to create a CodeBlocks project. So go ahead and open CodeBlocks. And go to File, New, Project. And I'm going to create an empty project. And then click Go. Next. And we'll need to give our project a name. And I'm going to put the project on the desktop. Click Next. Finish. And we need to add a main.cpp file to the project. So go to File, New, File, C++ Source, and then click Go. Next. Next. We need to give the file a name. I'm going to call it main.cpp. And we need to tell CodeBlocks where to create that file with the Browse button. So click on that. And we'll go to the desktop. And then we'll go to our project folder. And click Save. And then we need to click the All button. And Finish. Okay, so now we have a main.cpp file. We need to get the example code from the wxWidgets website. So open up your web browser and go to www.wxWidgets.org. Then click on Hello World. Scroll to the bottom and copy the code. And we just paste that in. Okay, now that we have the example code, we need to link against wxWidgets. So we'll need to go to Project, Build Options. Now over on the left-hand side of this window, you'll see we have three options. We have our project, debug, and release. Whenever our project is selected, any changes we make to our settings will apply to both debug and release. If debug is selected, then any changes we make to our settings will only apply to debug mode. And if release is selected, then any changes we make to our settings will only apply to release mode. Okay, so now we want to select our project, and then we want to go to Search Directories, Compiler, And then we want to click on this Add button. Then click the Browse button. And we want to go to the C drive, Program Files x86, wxWidgets, Include, and then we want to click on this Select Folder button. No? OK. And now we want to click on the Linker tab. So we have our project selected, search directories, and linker. Click Add, Browse. Then we want to go to the C drive again. Program Files x86, wxWidgets, lib, GCC_DLL. Then click Select Folder. No? OK. Now we want to select Debug. Click Yes. And we want Search Directories and Compiler. Click Add, Browse, go to the C drive, Program Files x86, wxWidgets, lib, GCC_DLL, and this time we're going to go to the MSWUD directory. The D indicates that the directory is for the debug build. Then we click on Select Folder. No? OK. And now we need to click on Release. Yes. And the Search Directories and Compiler tabs should be selected. And then we need to go to Add, Browse, go to the C drive, Program Files x86, wxWidgets, lib, GCC_DLL, and then the MSWU directory. And then we just need to click the Select Folder button. No? OK. OK, now that that's done, we need to go to Linker Settings. And now we need to open up the File Explorer. And we'll go to the C drive, Program Files x86, wxWidgets, lib, GCC_DLL. And we need to do a search for the core library. So this right here is the core library, and this is the release version. I know that because this right here is the debug version, and the debug version has a D in the name, and the release version does not. Okay? We're currently on release, which means we need to add the release library to the linker settings. So we'll go ahead and copy this. And we'll add that in. And now we need to do a search for the base library. Okay, so this is the base library, and it's the release version. I know that because it doesn't have a D in the name. So let's go ahead and copy this. and add that in. Okay, so that's it for the release build. And now we need to go to the debug build. Click yes. Go to linker settings. And now we need to get the debug version of the base library, which is this right here. So add that in. And we'll need to get the core library as well. So let's do a search for core. And here's the debug version of the library. So let's go ahead and copy that. And we'll paste that in. Okay, so we're done with the settings. We can click OK. And at this point, you'll want to save everything. Okay. Let's go ahead and build the project. And now we can run it. As you can see, that worked for me, but sometimes you'll get a missing DLL error. If that happens to you, then you'll need to copy the appropriate DLLs into the same directory as your executable. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So here's our project folder. If we go into that, then we go to the bin directory, you can see we have a debug folder. If we open up CodeBlocks again, and we switch to release, and we build that, you'll see the release folder pops up. Okay. Now what we can do is we can copy these DLLs into the appropriate directory. So this is the release version of the core library, and this is the debug version because it has the D in the name. So we'll copy this into debug, and we'll copy this into release. And then we'll do a search for base. This right here is the release version of the base library. So let's copy that into the release folder. And this is the debug version. So we'll need to copy that into the debug folder. Okay, so if you got that missing DLL error, that should fix it. There is one final thing I want to show you, which is you may not want this console showing up like this. If that's the case, then you go to Project, Properties, go to Build Targets, select whichever build you want, and change this option to GUI Application. Now if I run that, you'll notice the console's still there. That's because we have to rebuild the project. So click Build, Rebuild, Yes, let it build, and then if we run it, you see there's no console anymore. Okay guys, that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.